Like when I initially when I started studying livelihoods, when I go somewhere or this time also many of the people when you tell about what is a livelihood, when they go to the SAG or somewhere they want to discuss, they will just see basically it's an enterprise basically. They want to see that a group of people doing together a badi, papad or agarbatti, they see it's basically an enterprise. And then they say that it is a livelihood. Just I will say one example. Then when I joined TIFTI in 2009, my first exposure was to Sarp, Andhra Pradesh. And then I had a whole lot of 5-6 days of exposure to different fields. I had interaction with the SHGs, the VOs, and I had the same thing. That I didn't see livelihoods. And finally, at the end of the day, we had a discussion with Vijay Kumar sir. At that time, he was the CEO, sir. So I just at the end, I just asked him a question that, sir, I saw everything. The community institutions are very good, but I didn't see livelihood. So actually, from that day, actually my perspective on livelihood changed. And maybe I am saying me because I think in general, it's, with most of the people, this is the understanding about livelihoods. Then he said that, see, whatever you saw, whatever the households are doing, it's all livelihoods. Okay, because we are not telling people to do a livelihood because livelihood cannot be imposed. Like, no, we are saying that I will tell you what livelihoods you will do. Like, no, what kind of basically income activities, economic activities, what you will do. Like, no, he told that you don't impose a livelihood because you can't teach a farmer how to do a farming because he is doing it. So what you will do, that your role is to fill up the gaps. Like what are the gaps in that basically in that value chain in the livelihood cycle, what you have to do. So this is basically the livelihoods. So everybody is doing, they are getting a good income out of the livelihood. So that is again this is my second understanding of livelihoods, that whatever like what we understand literally also we mean by livelihoods, so it's a means of living for us. Whatever source it may be, it's an enterprise, it's a primary sector livelihoods, it's some off-farm livelihoods, non-farm livelihoods, so it's basically livelihoods. Then the present understanding of livelihoods is that it is basically everything. What we do is basically what is helping us to have a better life. It's a kind of well-being. Livelihood by now we mean is basically well-being. So under NRLM is also suggesting a 4 strategies or 4 approaches for livelihood promotion. First it is saying that you have to increase the income because it's the core of livelihood promotion. And the second is that reducing expenditure basically. Like people they are spending a lot on unnecessary expenditures, like they're gambling, they're having liquors, they have to cover a long distance, you have to grease the transportation cost. There are a lot of things you could do by reducing the expenditures. The health expenditure is too high in the rural community. If you see the maximum expenditure is incurred in health sectors. So if you are reducing it with better food, better hygiene, better nutrition, so then there's a better livelihood, then reducing the expenditure. Then the third is coming, the third approach is saying that it is basically creating employability. Like you make people employable, you build their skill, then they get a income out of it. So this is the third understanding of it. And basically because of that, we are linking the skill development programs with NRLM. Basically it's a core program of NRLM. And the fourth is about vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Like seasonal shocks, and there are different conditions. These people with disability. We have Naxalism in Odisha. Like out of the 30 states, 30 districts, 18 districts are Naxal affected. So this is a major vulnerability with the people. There are vulnerability because women, basically the gender. These are the gender issues. This is a form of vulnerability. So there are a lot of vulnerabilities coming with livelihoods. So now we understand that maybe it will get defined after some time also, maybe because a lot of school of thoughts, and maybe with this workshop also I add on something more. So now we understand that by livelihoods we understand everything. Whatever we are doing to get a better life is our livelihoods. And sometimes also I think like a lot of debates goes on inside me, like a lot of questions comes in. Like in a few days back, like in July we had a workshop in Hyderabad. So we are telling that NRLM will do the Swachh Bharat mission. And now it's a mandate of NRLM also to do a Swachh Bharat mission. So I was against Sarvesh. Why we will do Swachh Bharat mission? This is a department for it. This is interesting department for it. Then why we will do? Then I argued a lot. I think sir was there in that program. I argued then. I first argue for everything. I argue because till I am not clear, I will argue. After some time, there will be a lot of analysis within me. Then I come to understand that what was right. Then I understood that because if you have better sanitation, I was reading a World Bank report. If you are investing 2 rupees or something, you are getting 59 rupees or something because that's adding up. If you have better toilet, or better sanitation, hygiene. So then I understood, no, it is again a part of the livelihoods. Then if everything is livelihood, then what NRLM will do? Can NRLM do everything? Because under livelihood, we are promoting primary sector livelihood, we are doing agriculture, we are promoting horticulture, we are promoting livestock, we are promoting everything, non-farm, enterprises, everything we are doing. Then I sometimes again I thought, then what the parent departments will do? Okay, there is a parent department for agriculture, there is a department for horticulture, there is a department for sanitation, there is a department for health, there is a department for education, then what NRLM will do? And why Government of India is implementing so many programs? Okay, then I realized again that this should be the flagship. In real terms, it's a flagship program. It should bring all other departments into its fold and together it should work. And finally, this is my understanding that NRLM is a facilitating program. It will facilitate. What is base of NRLM is creating the base, like this is empowering the rural community. We are creating the capacity of the rural community so that they grab all this support like from different departments. We are increasing their bargaining power. So we are making them capable of getting all and every benefits from different departments and different schemes. So what Debraj was telling here comes the thing of convergence or partnership. So we can partner with everybody like with academic institutions, with civil service organizations, with everybody. NRLM has a mandate to work with everybody. So how do we bring this convergence? Like when Mr. Reddy he shared in his past, he told that this partnership is not coming in a real way. Like there is a circular from NMMU, Government of India, that you can put a list of so many NGOs. So you will see so many organizations, so many academic institutions you can partner with. But it is not. In fact, the real partnership is not coming in. I think I don't need to say much about it. I think this is a platform where we could discuss about all this kind of partnerships kind of thing and why it is not coming out. What kind of partnership actually we are looking into, and in which area actually we should partner, because there are sometimes I find some overlapping is also there. So whatever suppose. What I feel personally is that I'm not talking about where I am working. I feel is that community mobilization should be an NGO's role. Because they are based there. Because if somebody outsider is going and mobilizing the community, it takes a lot of time. And you have a platform already available. Why don't you leverage with that platform? So this is my understanding of partnership. Then partnership with the technical, in some technical areas. So there should be a differentiation. Like again I was listening to Zulfi. So at that time when he was presenting, I was trying to figure out when this NRLM and BRLM they are different. How they are different again? It's the same government, same department, rural development ministry, same ministry is implementing both the programs. So where is the cutting line there? So then I think we are doing a lot of overlapping everywhere. I see, like in Odisha, if you see some 12 or 13 departments are promoting self-help groups. Mission Shakti is there. Then NRLM now I took over is doing the mobilization. Somewhere the school and mass is doing this. Somewhere the watershed program is doing the mobilization. Sometimes everybody is now with SHGs. And what initially that was an again issue that in some SRLMs like when the staff are going, they're breaking the groups, they're forming new groups. These kind of issues are coming in because this is a lack of understanding. And if so many people do the same kind of work with different philosophy, with different principles, definitely there's a lot of issues will come in. So we need to understand, maybe this workshop will give us a platform from where to start and where to end. Each organization should understand that, so that if the role clarity is there, I think the convergence will come up in a better way. This partnership will be fruitful in NRLM. And livelihood education, if I say, I don't know, because I think this formal education is okay. Give you some base to understand what is livelihood, and I think I was citing all these examples because it is actually a very critical thing to understand a livelihood. And if for a student to read in an institute, any criminal institute for 2 years, going for an internship for 3 months or 4 months, I don't know how possible it is to understand what livelihood is actually. Because it is basically an experiential learning. You become an expert by working in different sectors, and all of a sudden that will not come in immediately. You need to understand what is agriculture, what operations are involved in agriculture, what are the problems or issues involved in this. So these are the things that we have to prepare the students that they should get a scope to work with different organizations so that they come out with a very good livelihood profession. Thank you.
There is still the issue on partnership that Debraj